Going on, everyone? Welcome to episode number 81 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today, I welcomed a producer, engineer, artist. This guy wears many hats. His name is Taavi. He's a New York-based artist. And today, I talked with him about several different topics. I really loved the overall positive vibes of this episode. He really discussed, how getting into a good flow state as an artist can really help you out. Specifically for him, he describes how kind of the beginning of the pandemic, he was able to sit down and really get focused on his overall goals, how he wanted to present himself to people through his different releases and everything. And now I see him on Instagram all the time. He's doing different clips. He's selling merch. He talks about his BeatStars that he just launched and everything, getting that going. We talked about himself releasing music and everything, the story of making his EP with his wife, pretty much around the time that they met. I thought that was a very cool story that you'll hear in the episode. And yeah, he just, he really brings a great energy to the table. And I feel like, that's why he's seen a lot of success. And we talk about, the fact that a lot of people overlook that, just having a positive mindset, really trying to break the narrative of what a lot of people want you to do in society and how that can really help you in the long run to get to your real goals, because at the end of the day, you have a lot more control than you realize, and sometimes we just overlook that. So I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. It's a great episode for those that might be feeling kind of in a rut, or maybe people that feel like kind of down on themselves. It's good to get that self-confidence back up. So hopefully this episode will do that for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome, everyone, to episode 81 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today we have a really incredible producer, engineer, designer, artist. I mean, this guy wears many hats. I think I connected with this guy probably at the beginning of 2020 out of New York. Taavi's here. How are you, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on today.
Yes, sir. And thank you for joining me today. I know it's been, a couple weeks we talked about getting you on here. I'm glad to make it happen today. So, to start out, we just have the guest kind of give a little bit of background, how you got into music, how long have you been doing it, pretty much basic information for those that might not know you and what you do.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, I'm from Chicago originally, so Midwest like you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I started playing piano when I was young, like second grade or something. But then I started doing like animations and stuff. And then what did I do next? The first real music I got into was like Eminem, like Marshall Mathers LP, Dr. Dre, 2001. And that really inspired me. But then I started playing guitar and getting into more metal stuff. And I was in a metal band for a little bit, like middle school and high school. But then I wanted to start branching out more in high school, and I started making beats. In high school I started making techno beats, but then I started making rap beats because that was like my original inspiration back with like Eminem and Dr. Dre.
Mm-hmm.
And I started making beats in like 2006, 2007. I was in high school, like sophomore year of high school, and sophomore, junior year. And all my beginning beats sounded like 3 6 Mafia beats because that was like what I was listening to at the time. That was inspiration. And then I got into all different other types of rap, and like the classic New York rap. I'd go to the library, get CDs. I'd order stuff from Amazon, get all Nas's CDs, get Tupac, Biggie, all that stuff, and got into sampling. Went to school downtown Chicago, was still making beats, and then me and my friend decided to move out to New York in 2012. So I've been here since 2012. Just grinding, working on music.
Yeah,
that's like a quick recap.
Yeah, that's super awesome. So it's good to hear that you kind of have been around it almost your whole life in a way. Like really since you were young, you just been kind of working your way up slowly and surely, and just kind of evolving into what you do and everything. So that's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so with all the different things you do, I'm curious to know, like, does that ever become kind of a hassle to kind of balance it all? Because, like I said, I've seen you the last few weeks. You're doing beat packs now. You're doing merch design. You're doing all this different stuff. So it's like, do you have to kind of really schedule out, like, how you're going to approach when you release this stuff and when you do what you do? Or has that not really been a challenge for you?
It is a challenge and it is a struggle, especially so many different things, because I really just follow the inspiration. and follow where the flow is leading me, I guess. And sometimes that can be a mess because I'll start something and won't be consistent with something else, and then I'll be like, oh shoot, I should have been consistent with that. But most of the time, I find that it is a pretty good path to follow with just following my inspiration, because I'm like, all right, I've been getting together more. Like I set up my beat store the other day. Finally, started paying for BeatStars so I could put up more. Like I was kind of against that for a while, but I was like, all right, let me just, if I don't try it, I really can't say anything bad about it. I need to like really go into it and really try it. So with that, I was like, okay, I need to market myself and brand myself. And I've already had the Dolphin Gang thing, my branding, for a while, and that's kind of my producer alias, alter ego. So I was like, all right, let me. I already made my own merch, and I was like, let me just wear my own stuff that I make. So I was like, let me just combine it together in there. And the beat pack stuff, I always wanted to get to making loops and making my own drums and start to put them up. And with the beat store, I could put it up there and sell it. And also, it started because my friend Ski, I hit him up and he was like, I'm working on the next whatever pack, and he wanted me to submit some designs for it. So that was my kind of motivation to finish my own pack and then send it to him at the same time. So it was like, yeah, it is a hassle sometimes, like posting on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Beat Store, all that stuff, and putting up merch and putting all this stuff. But I think what my essence is, I'm always trying to follow, like tune in internally and see where that wisdom needs me to go, but also keep learning whatever, like on YouTube, or I really need to strengthen my marketing and strengthen my brand. So I feel like I'm doing YouTube University stuff to strengthen that, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's good to always like continue to be a student too, because I feel like the best people, I feel like they always continue to learn, no matter like what they've done in the past or what they've been through. It's like it's always good to learn like what other people are doing and how you can kind of get in on that in your own way and like have it work for you. So I think that's very very important right there. So I know you're in like a couple groups and everything, and you self-release music as well. So how did you get into that whole thing? Like, when did you decide that you were going to start putting out material under your own name and everything, as well as being a producer?
Yeah, that's a good question, because, as a producer, like we were talking, like, producers, I think, are naturally introverts, and I was the super introvert for most of my life. And, I was in a metal band. I was the guitarist, and then when I started making beats, I never really wanted to rap, and I don't consider myself a rapper, but when I would make my beats, I would sing on them and just kind of put it in the background, and that's always been kind of my signature style towards it, just using my voice as an instrument. And in the beginning, like 2000, I don't know, 2010 or 2012, 2011, 12, I probably started putting my voice on the track more prominently. And then as my confidence grew, just raising it more and more, and be like, I really like Empire of the Sun and MGMT, like a lot of these indie groups, and I wanted to kind of mix my beats with that type of singing. That's like the type of singing I like to do. So I had just all these songs, and I started singing 2014. I would bring it out more, but I didn't really start releasing this stuff till 2019. My wife really inspired me, like, you need to organize this stuff and release it. And I was like, all right, I need to do that. So I organized all my projects, and I had so many projects just from the years past that I didn't release, that were unreleased. So I was like, but I knew they fit into albums. I like full bodies of work, so I just started putting them together and dropping them. But also before that, I was releasing singles. In 2015, I released my first music video. 2015 was when I first consciously decided, all right, I'm a producer and artist, and I'm going to start dropping my own solo stuff. Because before that, I was just in like a rap group, and we were planning stuff for years and years, and stuff wasn't coming out or going exactly as we planned. So I'm like, screw this, I'm going to do it myself, and just started putting beats up on YouTube and putting some music videos out. So I guess that's when it started.
I think, because I definitely share that same experience and that same sentiment. It's like, as a producer, I feel like we're kind of past the point of having to wait for artists to like rap on beats and like sing the beats all the time. Like obviously that's gonna be a part of it forever. Like that's like the essence of being a producer and everything. But now you can also like put out your own stuff. You can get artists to be on your stuff and just work things out. Like I started doing it like 2 years ago, and it's been great because I feel like I have more control now. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I can actually facilitate how I want to present it to people, how it's going to look, and I actually know that it's going to come out. Because, like you said, it's like you could do all this music, but if it just sits in a hard drive, what was the point of any of it? You know what I mean? Like, you just
Exactly.
did it so it could sit there and collect dust. And, like, even right now, like, there's so many songs that I've worked on now that are just waiting to come out. And it's like I'm not in control of that. So I'm like, while I'm waiting on those to come out, I'm just going to go do these because I know I can
Okay.
control this. And I know I can facilitate how that's going to look and give that to people. So I think that's definitely something that a lot of people should kind of look at, especially if you're a producer, because like you said, it's like I feel like there used to be this notion that like producers just have to play the background and do this, and like they're not really out there. They don't really put themselves out there that much. But I feel like if you do it and you get the hang of it more and more, and you just kind of start figuring out how to brand yourself and do kind of what artists do, it'll work out for you. So it's great to hear that that has kind of been your journey as well. And I'm glad to hear that you've got that push kind of to put the music out there and keep it going. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, like the album I just dropped, the Dolphin Gang Volume One. That's a compilation album, and that was like years and years of being in New York and working with tons of artists, but no one dropping stuff. So I was just getting so angry.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Yo, you're not gonna drop this? I'm just gonna make an album, put it on my album." And so that's what I'm doing now. And I think it's important for producers to also, realize that, like, if you work with an artist, you're making a beat for an artist. Even if it's your homie, you're doing it for no charge or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. You got to get something back. You got to be like, all right, come on, my track, and can I drop this or put terms like, yo, if you don't drop this within 2 years, I'm dropping it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can get really frustrating without stuff that's not released can really block your energy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I love that. And that's like I said, even just putting the work in, it's like you want to make sure that work is put in for something,
Exactly.
you want it to pay off. So, yeah, I totally agree with all of that for sure. Is there any song that you've probably self-released or maybe just something you've been a part of that maybe it's like a good memory of yours, like when you were creating it, that you kind of remember the process, maybe in the studio or maybe kind of the conception of how a certain song came together? Does anything stand out to you?
Um. Yeah. The EP that my wife and I made, we made it when we first met, 2018. We met on a Sunday. We got in the studio on a Monday. We started working on music. We made this first song. We couldn't speak each other's language, and then you know, um, we kind of knew we liked each other. And then over that week, we were kind of thinking about it. The next week, she came over again, and we made another song. And I kind of through that song, I you know expressed my love for her,
Mm.
and her cousin had to translate it. So that was like a really special, um, probably the most special project I've
Mm-hmm.
worked on. And it was this project, this EP. It's me and my wife's group called Hoy, and we got these three songs, and it was the period of when we met, when we started dating, and then when we got married, and it's all encapsulated in this EP of like we met, we met and got married in like a month, so it was really fast. It was really
Mm-hmm.
unusual, but this EP encapsulates that, and I feel like those are my best lyrics. Those are my favorite lyrics, and when
Yeah.
I was able to speak my clearest and loudest, and just the vibe of the songs
Yeah.
are really great.
Yeah.
And yeah, the song's called, the EP is called "Love of Life," and that's probably my best memory so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the intro and outro, my friend Ski did that too. I was in his house in between this time, so he did his analog thing, intro and outro. So
Yeah. That's awesome because that's like music in its pure form. You know what I mean? It's really the emotion, and you were making that in real time. So it's like all this stuff was happening to you in real time. So you were just putting it in the music. And I think that's always where the best music comes from, is like what we're living now and like what we can just put in and relay to other people. And then when they hear it, they'll be like, "Oh, this reminds me of this time in my life." So it's
Mhm.
like that's an incredible story. Like I didn't even know that. I knew you guys had done an EP and everything, but I didn't know like that whole thing behind it. So
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
really
So
cool
the story
story.
behind it really
Yeah.
mystical.
Did you guys play the songs at the wedding though?
Yes,
You
and then we
did.
performed it the next
Wow.
year at our wedding ceremony. We
Wow.
performed it and came up with an outfit. Our friend Tend made some of the clothes. My friend made the jewelry, and then we performed it at our wedding. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's like storybook right there. Like that is incredible, man. That's
thank you.
awesome. So I know that you're also a podcaster yourself. You have the Music Producer podcast, Best Music Producer podcast. So I'm curious to know, how that all got going. How did you come up with the concept for that? And what's it been like kind of just getting to hear from different people and put that all together?
Yeah, yeah. The best music producer podcast. It was really like I got the idea in the beginning of the pandemic. Like, all right, the concept, the bestmusicproducer.com, and like we're all striving for that. It's like on the quest. The theme is on the quest to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we should all have in our goals like the top highest goal. We should aim for the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot for the highest peak because even if you don't hit exactly what you want, you'll hit higher than you thought you could because human beings we got infinite potential. And I practice Buddhism, and in Buddhism, we're always talking about our life is one with the law. Our life is one with Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and we can bring forth this infinite potential. And everyone has this infinite potential. So the concept behind the best music producer is not like, oh, I'm the best and these other people are down there. It's like everyone should have the mindset like, yo, I'm the best. I'm going to be the best in what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna achieve the best, thing. And like, knowing your inherent worth. Like a lot of times, society likes to put down us. If you say you're the best or you say you're striving to do this, because society's in a kind of a low vibration.
Mm-hmm.
They're still trying to get up, but it's like I feel like people need to respect each other more in terms of like, all right, yo, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be the best, and all right, that's awesome. Like kind of like Ye's really on point with that. Like he's like saying, he's a genius and all this stuff, and people get pissed off because it disrupts something within them where they don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who mess with that are like, yo, that's inspirational because we're all geniuses. We're all on that same level. It's not like someone here and someone here.
Mm-hmm.
The best music producer is about how can we develop that attitude together and bring that forth. Whenever I talk with people like what's their flow, what brings them into that space where they feel confident, and how can we strengthen that? And then that's what it's about.
Yeah. I really love that because it's like I've always heard it called like operating at a higher frequency. Like you're just as a person, like you said, it's like society will try and do this, this, and this to you, and like even the households we grow up in, it's like if we're around negativity and we're around limited beliefs and things like that, it's like it's kind of hard to prosper. But I think a lot of people don't realize that you really can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's like you just have to train your mind to understand that you have the capabilities to do whatever you're trying to do. So I think that's a huge thing, especially as a creative. It's like if you're trapped in that certain belief of like, oh, I can't do this, or you have self-doubt and you don't really love yourself that much, it's like it's going to be hard to make it happen because you're already putting those shackles on yourself before anyone else does to begin with. So it's like if you don't have that really the self-confidence to put yourself out there and really believe in yourself 100%, then it's going to be super tough. So I love that. I think that is definitely something that all creatives should be kind of tapping into in their own way. You know what I mean? So that's awesome.
Thank you. And like I think confidence is the prerequisite to success or to victory, to winning. It's like, and that's the battle we need to work on inside of ourselves. In Buddhism, it's called human revolution. Our whole practice is to change our karma, and our karma just means action. So it's just the action, it's the thoughts, words, and deeds that we've done our whole life and our family's done that's brought us to this point. So it's about changing that mindset and going in and changing those deep habits and observing. Like we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo to be able to observe our mind and see kind of from a more wise perspective, from a higher level. Like, oh shoot, I'm doing that. Let me change how I'm acting in this way.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like, like people can have like whatever trash music or trash movies or trash art, but they're super confident and they're super successful with it. And there's people who are like amazing artists, amazing producers, but they're not confident and they're not able to hold that space, give themselves that value. So the other people aren't able to receive it. You can be playing. I've been in the room with whatever big artists and stuff, and if I play like one of my biggest bangers, but sometimes I wouldn't feel confident, it's not going to go through with them. But I play the same artist, the same beat, but I'm in a confident space. I played it for him the other day, and he's like, "Whoa, that's a banger!" It like transmits. So it's like we got to work on our confidence and our inner spirituality just as much as we're working on production.
Yeah. And that's I feel like people overlook that too, or they kind of overthink it a lot, but it's like you really just got to strip everything down and kind of simplify it. Look at it from your perspective of your life. Don't even focus on your career at this time. Just be like, how do I want to approach this in my overall life? Then I think all that just starts falling into place, and it becomes easier and easier the more you do it. So it's like, because I've experienced exactly what you're talking about. It's like I think I was, at one time, I was just like focused on what everyone else was trying to get me to do, or like how people thought of me and all this stuff. It's like, that's just me in my own head. That's literally, none of that's real. You know what I mean? It's like, you just got to focus on what you're trying to do, what your goals are, and just go, you know what I mean? And just really figure it out from there. And what's going to happen is going to happen. What's for you is for you, and what's not for you is not for you. And it's just that simple. So I definitely think that's something that, a lot of people kind of overthink, kind of overlook, but sometimes the simple stuff I feel like is what's keeping people from moving forward. So that's definitely important. So I know you're on Instagram. You do this kind of a series you've been running. I don't know if you're still doing it, but you did the How to Make a Banger on Instagram. Like you would post these videos and everything. So how did that whole thing come about? Because I thought that was really cool. Like you would just do these updates, how to make a banger, and then you'll give like kind of tutorials, like kind of instructions on like how to get in a good headspace. So it kind of ties back to what, we were just talking about. But how did you come up with that concept to put it in kind of a shorter video form and do that?
Yeah, I've always had that, like, my intention for producing has always been like, how do I get, for myself, my goal has been like, how do I get in the flow? How do I stay in the flow? Because, there's producers and artists who make one hit and then they never make anything again. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I want to learn, how do you make a hit, and how do you keep making a hit, or how do you keep making, not necessarily a hit, but like a classic, like Bob Marley, Led Zeppelin, Biggie, Tupac, all these eternal, Miles Davis, all these stuff that lasts eternally. Like, how do I make something that's pure and eternal and like directly real and raw? And I guess that was always my prayer and my focus towards producing. And I feel like I really was able to get the hang of it by like 2015. I was able to I feel like music comes through you. You don't make the music, but you clear the space. You make the space spiritually inside you for the spirit to come through you and create it. Like, you get good enough to, go through the DAW and play the piano and do everything. But when you can hear the stuff, you can be a vessel for that, and you can tap in and be like, what do the people need right now? What am I called to be, a vessel for right now? So I feel like I was able to really master that in like 2015 and onward. And it's been my intention, all right, like, let me, I want to put this in form somehow. I don't know how I'm going to put it down. And I've had a hard time writing it into a book. And I've done like beat videos, but it was always too long and my computer shuts down. My computer's not too fast for editing long videos. So it was always frustrating. But then I think 2019, I did the first 3 How to Make a Bangers. And I really wrote everything down in detail. And I wrote like a 3-step process. And then I don't know what happened. I did that on TikTok and I reposted it. But then I waited a year and I didn't do any more until, I don't know when I started the other ones. I think I started it like last year, but I was like, yo, let me just do it on Reels. Like, Reels had came out and it was there and I was kind of using it. Let me just do a quick one. I don't have to think about it, like keep it gutter, like all the things I'm talking about. And I can use it for like a notepad, for a quick notepad to go back to it and then write a book about it, or if I want to go more detail. Like, I feel like TikTok and Reels are a way to capture the essence right away. So, like, when I'm inspired, or when I'm hitting a producer block, or when I feel an inspiration, I'll just go and do a How to Make a Banger, and now I'm on like 76 or something.
Yeah.
But I do want to put it into a book.
Yeah.
Like a detailed book.
I was about to say, because that would be a really incredible book, because like just from watching the little videos, I feel like that's like one of your signature things that you keep putting up, and I'm like, oh, that's a really cool idea. Like, he just gives this little like message really quick, and like you just move on, and then the next one you'll give something else, you'll give more tips and everything. So like, I think it works perfectly, like you said, for like what social media is now and like how people are like seeing stuff. I feel like that's gonna help a lot of people. But then later on, if they want to dive in more, if you do something like a book or something, then they can go in and see it all in one place. So I think the whole idea is like perfect. So
Sure, thank you, man.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot of good feedback for that. So
Yeah.
thank you, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of going with like, because I spent so much time not releasing stuff. One of my main realizations I realized was like, you need to get feedback from people on what's working and what's not working.
Mhm.
So social media, you can easily test the waters to see what works and doesn't work. And How to Make a Banger, like, a lot of people know me for that now. So it's like, all right, that's working. So it's like, all right, let me invest more time into that, because there's so many things we can invest time into. But if we, we can test the waters easily with Instagram or TikTok or whatever,
Yeah, keep it up, man, because I think that really showcases like what you're trying to do too, and your personality, and people can see like that you care about what you're talking about and everything. I think that's one of the reasons it kind of stands out to people. So yeah, keep it up, man, because that's some great stuff.
Thank you, man.
So obviously, you've worked closely with your wife on music and everything. Is there anyone else that you work really closely with, that you're in groups with, that you want to shout out, who we should know about, that someone you really enjoy collaborating with, maybe?
Yeah. I got my two close friends, Hunter and Good Kid. You a Good Kid? I got a lot of artists too, but those are two who I've been working with closely for the past several years. Me and Hunter have been working on stuff since 2017, and we've just been closely collaborating. And I produced a lot of his project that's coming out probably sometime in 2022. And then Good Kid I met through Hunter. He's a great visual artist and also producer and artist himself. He combines it all together. And me and him got a project, and we're both producing on Hunter's project. I got a lot of other artists I work with. Too many to name, but everyone knows who they are. Thank you. I got a project called Pull Up to the Crib coming out, where I got 20 features on it. And it's like an album and a song at the same time. So you guys will see it more when it comes out. I can talk about it more when it comes out, but it's basically like tons of features, and everyone can do their own video for it and stuff like that. But it's about visualizing where you want to be in life, and using music for a positive purpose. I call it like manifestation music, like using music to manifest yourself into where you want to be. The song Pull Up to the Crib I made in 2017 going down Fifth Avenue. I was looking at like penthouses on Fifth Avenue. I want to live in one of those, so I just took a picture, posted on Instagram, Pull Up to the Crib. Then I went home and I made this song Pull Up to the Crib, and it's about that. Like, how does it feel? You got to visualize, you got to see it, you got to feel it, you got to write it down, you got to know that you're there. And it's about like bringing yourself, using the music as a tool to bring you into places in life. And I've used this song to get me to my last apartment and get us to this apartment. And it's kind of like that.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I love that concept, so I'm looking forward to hearing it for sure. I'm gonna have to check it out like right when it comes out. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So obviously, I think we talked about this before we started recording, about how we're almost like 2 years into the pandemic and everything now. So for you, in the last like year or so, year and change now, has there been any type of a hurdle that you've had to get over as far as continuing to do music, continuing to push your career forward? Has there been anything that's kind of been a roadblock for you, or has it been not that bad? I don't know, whatever you were comfortable sharing. Has there been anything that's kind of been a little bit crazy in recent months, I guess.
I mean, in the beginning of the pandemic, I mean, the lockdown and pandemic was actually kind of helpful because I was teaching at the time. I was working like 2-3 jobs teaching. I was teaching at a special needs school, and then I was teaching at like an after school program, teaching kids how to make beats and stuff like that. And I was getting really overwhelmed, like really drained, and it was just really hard for me to, focus on the music and the art that I needed to. So when the pandemic hit, it was like all that kind of paused, and the when they when everything got started, like everyone was shuffling to get back on Zoom. I had a lot of time off and a lot of just like really short classes, so I could really focus. And me and my wife really laid out a schedule for both of our online businesses that we were going to start. And I started the Best Music Producer podcast and a newsletter, and she started her figure model stuff. And it was really able to start getting focused and like, all right, I need to start getting paid for my music. I need to start charging more for my beats. I need to start charging for my services. So it was really good to kind of focus, and I was putting out beats. I was putting out like a trap beat every Thursday and a meditation music every Monday. And I was just kind of testing the waters to see how that worked. And that was really good to build a momentum. And then in that time, me and Hunter started working on a project too, and shot the music videos for my wife's album, and just a lot of stuff. And it was. I think it was actually good. It was helpful in the beginning, getting everything kind of rolling. But yeah, as the pandemic went on, it just becomes sometimes you deal with anxiety and stuff, just staying in the house too long, or realizing like, oh shoot, I need to get outside. But one thing that happened that was beneficial last year or in the spring was I was able to leave my teaching job and fully sustain myself on music, which I'm making music now for an app that's coming out. It's not out yet, so I can't really say the name, but I'm basically a composer that makes stems for an app that's going to come out, that a technology you can make your own beats with. So I've been doing that since the spring, and that's been kind of scary, like taking that jump, not having secure, stable paycheck of a regular job, but it's also been incredibly freeing, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. And I have to kind of, this is not, I don't know how long it's going to last, so I have to think of other things, and that's what motivated me to, all right, invest in my beat store and start my merch and start doing this NFT stuff, because I need to experiment to see what are other ways I can, bag it up.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's good though, because like I feel like you're kind of in a flow state almost. Like you're just continuing to build the momentum slowly but surely and everything, and that's great to hear that you're kind of doing, at least moving in the direction that you want to move and everything during the time. It's just crazy to think about how like just that extra time that a lot of us got from the pandemic. A lot of things just started to build up then because you just have more time to focus on what you were trying to do to begin with. So it's like now you're seeing that pay off in big ways. So that's super, super great, man.
Exactly, yeah. And actually, from when I started my newsletter, that's how I got, like, one of my friends who was subscribed to the newsletter would see I was being consistent, and they offer me this opportunity that I have now. So it was like I could go back to that, beginning point and be like, all right, my work here directly led to my work at the beginning of the pandemic led directly to me being able to leave my job, and go on the path of supporting myself on music, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, and it's cool because those wins always pile up, because it's like if you see that pay off once, you're like, if I do that again, it's going to pay off in this way. And then it just continues to build and build and build, and your confidence gets higher, and it's a great thing. Probably the best thing as a creative, for sure. So
definitely, you never know which one is going to hit.
Yeah.
So you go consistently, and you show yourself, and you keep doing your work, and you have confidence. And it's scary at times, maybe you don't know where the money is going to come from, or you don't know, all this stuff, but it's also it's really confidence building, and it's really freeing.
Yeah,
so
100%. So I don't know if you've ever thought about this question before, but as far as your music, as far as pretty much everything you're putting out right now, what do you think the lasting impact that you want to have on people is when it comes to releasing all this stuff? Like when someone hears your music, sees your art, whatever, what do you think you want them to take away from that experience?
I think I want them to be able to live in the flow state and have confidence in themselves and trust. You know, it's easy to kind of, especially as you get older, get into like the blockage, you know, and be influenced by the societal things, or think of how I should do stuff. But I want to really give people tap into their flow, tap into their excitement, trust. Don't overthink stuff, and have confidence and keep going. That's what I want to bring forth, and treat yourself with value, treat other people with value, and yeah, that's my intention of my music and artwork.
Yeah.
And get people to think, get people to really think too. I'm also into like a lot of different theories and like alternative history and different things. I think a lot of stuff has been hidden from us. I think we were in the age of Pisces, and now we're officially in the age of Aquarius, which is waters mixing, and knowledge is coming up. So more things that were in the darkness are becoming enlightened. So I want to use my art as well to kind of, slowly help people see other things that may not be in the mainstream, but, keep an open mind to,
Yeah. I was going to say, like, push the limits of the mind pretty much, just continue to evolve. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
So last few questions here. These are questions I ask in every episode. If you could go back 10 years ago, give yourself a piece of advice or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
And I would tell myself to release everything right away. That's what I would say. Like, I always think about that myself. I'm like, if I was in 2007 making these 3-6 Mafia beats, I should have just put these right on YouTube. I should have just made videos for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have said, release stuff. Release so you can get the feedback, so you can know. You could be going 10 years in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
If you never release this stuff, you will not know, because the feedback from the people is part of the art. The art is not complete without that feedback.
Exactly. So if we flip it then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you want to be in your life and in your career?
10 years from now, when would that be? What is it, 2021?
Yeah, it'd be 2031, yeah.
Oh, damn. All right, I'll be whatever. How old will I be? I'll be 41. I'll be 41, all right. I will have... I definitely want to really be financially free and secure, like able to do whatever I want with music, and financially free and secure, and having a good life for my family, and with music, working with top artists. I really want to work with Thug, and new artists who are like coming out, whatever new artist is coming out to. I always try to follow what artist is really following the flow. And I noticed even like 2000, I don't know, 2014, 2013, like Thug was going to be big. But I realized like I have a good, compass of like who's going to be big or what. So I want to really, really work with that, be financially stable, have a good life for my family, have a lasting impact on music, really be a recognized producer and artist, and really be able to share the knowledge with people, maybe expand the best music producers, so it's a community of producers, sharing and helping each other. Like I have a Discord set up, but it's not too big, but like, building that more,
Yeah. Just keep that momentum going, for sure.
Yeah.
Continue to
keep
grow.
the momentum going.
Awesome. So do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
I think, just like, don't overthink it. Drop your stuff. Drop your music. And don't overthink it. Like have confidence in yourself and have fun. Like I did a claymation. I finished a claymation for the first time the other day in I don't know how many years, since I was in 7th grade, and the amount of joy I felt from just staying in the flow all day was like, all right, this is it. This is what I want to keep. So like the flow will lead you places you have no idea you're going to go. You can strategize with stuff, but really tap into the joy and the excitement and try to stay in that and do whatever you need to do that. Like do a spiritual practice before you make beats or whatever it is to get you in the zone, get you in there, and follow that flow and trust and be open to everyone, but also set your limits and, know your value. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of no. People saying no to you. Know your value. The people who are supposed to be working with you will work with you. And have confidence and have fun and be consistent and be clear with your goals.
Exactly, man. Love the positivity. That's all I have for you today, man. I appreciate it once again. Thank you for joining me. Keep that positive energy going, man, because I feel like there's a lot of that lacking where we're at, especially in like the music space right now and everything. And I feel like what you're doing with your music, with your podcast and everything is super important. And like I said before, you got to keep the momentum going. So continue the consistency, and I feel like it's all going to work out well for you, man. I know you got a baby on the way, so congrats on that and everything, and just everything you're doing, man. Keep it up.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this convo. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks for listening, guys. That was episode 81. We'll be back this time next week, and actually next week will be the final episode of 2021. So looking forward to that. Good wrap up to the year, and we'll be taking the final week off for the holidays and everything like we did last year in 2020. But until next week, we'll see you guys then. Obviously, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send funds. And if you enjoyed today's episode, feel free to give us that 5-star rating. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.